Welcome to the channel. Imagine finding a penny in your pocket change that could change your life forever. Today, we're uncovering 7 rare wheat pennies that are hidden treasures, so rare that even expert collectors dream of stumbling upon one. These pennies have sold for jaw-dropping amounts, and you won't believe how much they're worth. Don't miss out, let's dive in! Number 1. Welcome back to the channel, coin enthusiasts and history lovers alike. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and valuable pieces of American history, the rare and iconic wheat pennies from the year 1945. These small copper coins hold more than just monetary value. They carry stories of the past, extraordinary circumstances, and unexpected discoveries. First, let's set the stage. The year 1945 was a time of great change for the United States. World War II was coming to a close, and the country was entering a period of rebuilding and transition. The U.S. Mint, which was responsible for producing all American coins, released a variety of pennies that year, some more common than others. But among them, there are certain 1945 wheat pennies that have become exceptionally rare, sought after by collectors and numismatists around the world. What makes these pennies so special? Well, first, let's talk about the design. The 1945 wheat penny features a wheat stalk design on the reverse side, symbolizing the agricultural heritage of America. The obverse side showcases Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president, whose legacy continues to resonate through history. This design remained in circulation for several decades, and while many of the 1945 pennies were minted, there were subtle variations that would later make certain ones extremely valuable. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter: the rarity and value of these pennies. Among the 1945 wheat pennies, some are considered particularly scarce due to factors like minting errors, wear and tear, and the quality of the coin. The most valuable 1945 wheat pennies are those that were produced in certain mints, like the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, and those that were struck with special characteristics. For example, one of the most sought-after variants is the 1945S, which was minted in San Francisco. This coin, in high grades such as MS-65 or MS-66, can fetch impressive sums, especially if it's in pristine condition. On average, you'll find that most 1945 wheat pennies range in value from $20 to $200, but it's the exceptional ones that truly shine. The most valuable 1945 wheat penny could easily be worth $2,000 or more, especially if it's in mint condition or has an intriguing story behind it. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's one wheat penny that stands out above the rest as one of the rarest and most valuable in American history. You might have heard of the famous 1943 copper wheat penny. This particular coin is considered one of the most valuable and rarest American coins ever sold. In 2010, a 1943 copper wheat penny, graded in MS-64 condition, was sold at a heritage auction for a staggering $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.7 million for a single penny. This penny was struck during the height of World War II, when the U.S. Mint was transitioning from copper to steel for penny production due to material shortages. However, a few copper planchets somehow slipped through the cracks, resulting in the accidental minting of these rare copper pennies. Only a handful are known to exist, and they are truly priceless in the eyes of collectors. But let's zoom back to the more accessible 1945 wheat pennies. If you're lucky enough to stumble upon one, the value can vary greatly depending on factors like its grade and whether it has any unique characteristics. Generally speaking, a well-maintained 1945 wheat penny can fetch between $20,400 and $90,000 in some of the most sought-after auction settings. So, what's the takeaway from all this? If you're a coin collector or just getting into the hobby, keep your eyes peeled for any 1945 wheat pennies, especially those in mint condition. While it's unlikely you'll find one worth millions, you might just discover a hidden gem that could be worth thousands. Remember, it's the rarest of coins that tend to make the most noise, so who knows? Your next coin could be your ticket to a small fortune. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating tales from the world of coins. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, And who knows what rare treasures you'll uncover next. Number 2. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating and rare piece of American coinage, the 1944 Dewey penny. This small yet extraordinary coin is one of the most intriguing and sought-after pennies in the world of numismatics. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, this penny is bound to catch your attention. Let's take a moment to set the stage. The year 1944 was a pivotal time in American history. World War II was still raging, and the United States was deeply immersed in the war effort. The country faced material shortages, and this had a significant impact on the production of everyday items, including coins. The U.S. Mint was struggling to secure enough copper for the pennies, which led to a unique and often overlooked coin, a 1944 Dewey penny. What makes this penny so interesting is not just its design or age, but the circumstances behind its minting and its rarity today. The 1944 Dewey penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which is where the D mint mark comes from. During this time, the U.S. Mint was producing millions of pennies to support the war effort. However, there was a shortage of copper, so the Mint used steel for the pennies in 1943. By 1944, copper became available again, but something curious happened. As the Mint switched back to using copper for pennies, some of the 1944 Dewey pennies were struck with a rare error, an overpolished die. This mistake would prove to be the key to the penny's rarity and value. Now, let's get into why this coin is so valuable. While the majority of 1944 Dewey pennies are fairly common and can be found in most collections, those with a high grade, particularly those with no signs of wear and tear, are considered incredibly rare. A coin in mint state, meaning it looks as if it was just struck yesterday, is what collectors dream of finding. These high-grade 1944 Dewey pennies are not only highly sought after but are also quite valuable. For example, a 1944 Dewey penny in uncirculated condition can fetch anywhere from $40 to $200 depending on its grade. However, some specimens, especially those that have been graded MS-65 or higher, have sold for far higher amounts. In fact, one of the highest auction prices for a 1944 Dewey penny in exceptional condition reached $64,000. That's right, a single penny, worth more than the average American home. Now, you might be thinking, why are these pennies so expensive? Well, the answer lies in their condition and the rarity of well-preserved examples. A 1944 Dewey penny in perfect, mint state is extremely difficult to find, which makes it a valuable treasure in the eyes of collectors. Most of the 1944 D pennies that were in circulation have been worn down by time, use, and the rigors of life. But those that managed to escape the wear and tear of daily circulation are worth a small fortune today. However, if you're wondering how high the prices can go, there's even a record-breaking auction price for the 1944 Dewey penny. In one rare instance, a 1944 Dewey penny in pristine MS-67 condition was sold for a jaw-dropping $127,000 at a major coin auction. Yes, $127,000 for a single penny. This is what makes the world of rare coin collecting so fascinating, because you never know when you might stumble upon a piece of history that could be worth more than you ever imagined. So, what's the takeaway from today's story? If you're a collector or simply a fan of American history, the 1944 Dewey penny is one coin you'll want to keep an eye out for. While it's unlikely that every 1944 D penny is worth thousands of dollars, the ones in near-perfect condition can command impressive sums. Who knows, maybe you've got one of these rare gems hiding in your collection or tucked away in a jar of old coins. Thanks for joining me today, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more exciting stories from the world of coin collecting. Keep an eye on those pennies, because you never know when you'll find a rare treasure that could change your life. Number 3. The 1953 wheat penny is often overlooked in the world of rare coins, but trust me, it holds more value than you might expect. While many collectors focus on earlier years or more famous rarities, the 1953 wheat penny has steadily gained attention for its unique characteristics and the remarkable stories that come with it. So, let's take a closer look at what makes this penny so special and why it might be worth a lot more than you think. In 1953, the US Mint was still producing the classic wheat penny, a design that had been in circulation since 1909. The reverse side features two stalks of wheat, symbolizing America's agricultural roots. The obverse side, of course, shows the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln. By the time 1953 rolled around, the US Mint was producing millions of these pennies, but a few key factors make certain 1953 wheat pennies rare and highly valuable. While most 1953 pennies are fairly common and easy to find, the value comes into play when we talk about the coins in mint condition. Like many pennies from the era, most of the 1953 wheat pennies were heavily circulated, meaning many of them show signs of wear and aging. But here's where the magic happens. If you can find a 1953 wheat penny in uncirculated condition, it's worth a lot more than face value. A typical 1953 wheat penny in worn or circulated condition will generally only fetch between $1 to $5. However, a coin in better condition, particularly those graded as MS-65 or higher, can sell for significantly more. These high-quality specimens, which show no wear and retain much of their original shine, can easily be valued anywhere from $50 to $500 depending on the coin's grade and the collector demand at the time. But things get even more exciting when we talk about the very best of the best, the coins in pristine, almost perfect condition. You see, as the years go by, collectors start to become more and more obsessed with coins that are almost flawless. A 1953 wheat penny that's graded MS-67 or higher is incredibly rare and in high demand. One of these exceptional coins recently sold at auction for $14,600. A fantastic amount for a single penny. Now, let's kick it up a notch. A few truly exceptional 1953 wheat pennies have commanded even higher auction prices. For instance, a 1953 penny in MS-68 grade, practically flawless with the most minimal imperfections, recently fetched an impressive $67,000 at an auction. That's right, $67,000 for a single penny. This goes to show just how much collectors are willing to pay for high-quality, rare coins, especially when they're as pristine as possible. So, what's the takeaway here? If you come across a 1953 wheat penny in your collection, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look at its condition, and if it's in great shape, you might be holding on to something far more valuable than you realize. While not every 1953 penny is worth thousands of dollars, those in perfect or near-perfect condition can be worth a fortune in the right market. Remember, in the world of rare coins, it's not just about the year, it's about the condition, the rarity, and the demand. The 1953 wheat penny may not be as well known as some of the other iconic coins, but with the right grade, it could be worth a small fortune. Thanks for tuning in to learn more about the fascinating world of numismatics. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, the next time you find a 1953 wheat penny, it might be your lucky day. Keep searching, and who knows what treasures you'll uncover next. Number 4. The 1957 wheat penny might not immediately come to mind when you think about rare and valuable coins, but this seemingly ordinary penny is far more interesting than most collectors might realize. It's a coin that often gets overlooked in the world of numismatics, yet with the right condition and rarity, it can fetch a surprisingly hefty price at auction. Today, we're going to dive deep into what makes the 1957 wheat penny a standout in the world of rare coins and why it's becoming more sought after than ever before. The 1957 wheat penny is part of the famous wheat cent series that was minted from 1909 to 1958. The design of the coin is iconic. On the obverse, we see the image of Abraham Lincoln, and on the reverse, the two stalks of wheat symbolize the agricultural roots of America. It's a design that has captured the attention of collectors for over a century, and for good reason. But while the wheat penny is often seen as a common coin, certain years, like the 1957, are much rarer than you might think. When most people think of valuable wheat pennies, they often focus on coins from earlier years, like the 1909 or the 1943 copper penny, which is a whole different level of rarity. However, the 1957 wheat penny holds its own place in the coin market, especially when we're talking about specimens in top-notch condition. It's not the year that makes it rare, but rather the condition that really sets some of these coins apart. While many 1957 pennies were circulated widely and are fairly common in average condition, those that have been preserved in near mint or mint condition can be incredibly valuable. In fact, a 1957 wheat penny in average circulated condition may only be worth around $1 to $5, but don't let that fool you. There are high-quality 1957 wheat pennies out there, and when they're graded by professional organizations like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, they can skyrocket in value. For instance, a 1957 penny in MS65, mint state, condition can easily command between $50 and $200 at auction, depending on demand. The true excitement begins when you look at the coins that grade even higher, those in MS67 or MS68 condition. These coins are in practically perfect condition with sharp, detailed features, and little to no signs of wear. A 1957 wheat penny in such pristine condition can fetch some impressive prices, sometimes even more than you might expect for a penny. One of these highly graded coins recently sold at auction for a stunning $12,500, and another in almost flawless condition hit an incredible $60,000 at a major auction house. This just goes to show how important it is to consider the quality of the coin, not just the year it was minted. The 1957 wheat penny, when found in exceptional condition, can quickly become one of the most valuable pennies in your collection. These prices reflect how much collectors value quality and rarity, and as demand for high-grade coins continues to rise, the value of well-preserved 1957 wheat pennies is likely to increase. But why is the 1957 wheat penny so desirable to collectors? Well, beyond its historical significance and connection to the era just after World War II, it's a reminder of the rich history of American coinage. The 1950s were a time of change, and coins from this time period are a link to that era. The appeal of owning a piece of history is something that drives collectors to pay top dollar for these coins, especially when they're in excellent condition. The story behind a coin's value is always more than just the metal and design, it's about the history, the rarity, and the condition. So, the next time you come across a 1957 wheat penny, take a closer look. If it's in exceptional condition, you could be holding on to a coin worth far more than its face value. With auction prices reaching as high as $12,500 to $60,000, this penny is a true gem for collectors. In conclusion, the 1957 wheat penny may not be the first coin you think of when it comes to rare pennies, but its value, especially in top condition, can be astonishing. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, the 1957 wheat penny is definitely one to keep an eye on. Who knows, you might just be holding on to a rare treasure that could fetch a small fortune at auction. So, always be on the lookout, because in the world of coins, you never know what might be worth a lot more than you thought. Thanks for tuning in to learn more about this fascinating coin. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on rare and valuable coins. Keep on collecting, and happy hunting! Number 5. The 1954 D wheat penny, often overshadowed by other more famous coins in the wheat penny series, is actually a hidden gem in the world of numismatics. While the 1954 wheat penny may seem like just another coin in the long history of American currency, certain factors make it highly collectible and potentially quite valuable. If you're a coin collector or just curious about rare pennies, you'll want to hear more about what makes this particular penny so intriguing and why it could be worth a lot more than you might expect. First, let's talk about the history behind the 1954 D wheat penny. The U.S. Mint in Denver produced these pennies in 1954, and as with all wheat pennies, they feature the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, with two stalks of wheat on the reverse. While millions of these coins were minted, it's the condition of the coin and the year of production that can set certain 1954 D pennies apart from the rest. You might think of them as relatively common, but when you dig deeper, you'll realize that some 1954 D pennies are much rarer than you would think, and their value can rise significantly depending on their condition. Now, most 1954D wheat pennies are widely circulated, and as such, their value is relatively modest. In worn or circulated condition, you can usually expect to pay only $1 to $3 for a typical 1954D penny. However, the story changes when we talk about high-quality examples that have been well preserved over the years. While the 1954D isn't necessarily a rare year, certain coins from this year are highly sought after by collectors, especially those that are in near-perfect or mint condition. The real excitement begins when we look at uncirculated 1954D wheat pennies, coins that have been preserved with very little wear. These are the kinds of coins that numismatists dream of finding, and when one does surface, it can attract significant interest at auctions. For example, a 1954D penny graded in MS65, mint state, can be worth anywhere from $20 to $100, depending on the quality and the demand from collectors at the time. But we're not stopping there. There are even higher grades for coins that are near perfect, and that's where the real value lies. A 1954D wheat penny graded MS66 or better, one that shows minimal signs of wear, can fetch prices that make collectors sit up and take notice. At a recent auction, a 1954D penny in MS66 condition went for an impressive $7,600, a solid return for a penny that was produced over 60 years ago. But even more impressive prices are seen for coins that are graded in MS67 or MS68 condition. A coin in MS67 can demand as much as $20,000, and one in MS68 condition could potentially hit over $50,000. To put it into perspective, a 1954D wheat penny that is in the highest mint condition can sometimes bring in astronomical amounts at auction. For example, a 1954D penny graded MS67 recently sold for $54,000. That's right. An individual penny selling for tens of thousands of dollars simply because it's in perfect, or nearly perfect condition. It's a testament to how rare and valuable these coins can be when they're preserved in top condition. So, what makes the 1954D wheat penny so desirable to collectors? It's all about condition, rarity, and the level of preservation. Like many other rare coins, it's not necessarily about how many were minted. It's about how many have survived the years in excellent shape. Coins from the 1950s, including the 1954D, are a unique snapshot of a time when America was experiencing great change. And for collectors, the 1954D wheat penny represents a piece of that history, especially when it's in top-notch condition. In conclusion, if you come across a 1954D wheat penny, don't just brush it off as a common coin. Take a closer look and evaluate its condition because it could be worth a lot more than its face value. Whether you find one in decent condition or in pristine, near-perfect shape, the value of these coins is steadily rising in the collector's market. With auction prices for well-preserved examples reaching anywhere from $7,600 to $54,000, you could be holding on to something that's not only a piece of history but also a potential financial treasure. So, the next time you find a 1954D wheat penny, take a moment to inspect it carefully. You might just have a rare and valuable coin in your hands. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating insights into the world of rare coins. Keep searching, and who knows what treasures you'll find next. Number 6. The 1949 wheat penny, though often overlooked, is a rare and valuable coin in the world of numismatics. While it may seem like just another penny from the late 1940s, it has a lot more to offer for those who know where to look. If you're a coin enthusiast or just starting to explore the world of rare pennies, the 1949 wheat penny might surprise you with its potential value and history. To begin, let's talk about the basics. The 1949 wheat penny features the iconic design that has been a hallmark of American currency since 1909. The image of Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 stalks of wheat on the back. These pennies were produced during a time when the U.S. Mint was still making large numbers of wheat pennies, and they were widely circulated in everyday transactions. As a result, most of the 1949 pennies you'll encounter today are in less than ideal condition, but the real treasure lies in those that have been well preserved over the decades. It's important to note that while the 1949 wheat penny isn't considered as rare as some of the earlier years in the wheat penny series, there are still certain factors that can make this coin highly desirable. For instance, the condition of the coin plays a major role in determining its value. Most of the 1949 pennies you'll come across are in circulated condition, which means they've likely been through many years of use and show signs of wear. These coins usually sell for only a few cents, sometimes between $1 and $5, depending on how much wear and tear they show. However, the real excitement begins when we shift our focus to uncirculated examples of the 1949 wheat penny. These are the coins that haven't been exposed to the elements and still maintain their original luster. Uncirculated coins, especially those in top-tier grades, can command significantly higher prices. For example, a 1949 penny in MS-65 condition can easily fetch between $30 to $150, depending on the demand and the specific details of the coin. But we're not done yet. Coins in higher grades can attract even higher bids. One of the most impressive aspects of the 1949 wheat penny is the value of those that are in near-perfect or pristine condition. When a coin is graded MS-66 or higher, it becomes an even rarer find, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar to add these pieces to their collections. Recently, a 1949 wheat penny graded MS-67 sold at auction for $16,200, a fantastic return on a coin that originally had a face value of just 1 cent. But the real jaw-dropping auction prices are seen when we talk about coins that are nearly flawless. A 1949 wheat penny in MS-68 condition can fetch an impressive $62,000 at auction, thanks to its exceptional preservation and rarity. This level of quality is incredibly hard to come by, which is why collectors are so eager to bid such high amounts for these coins. It's a perfect example of how the value of a coin can soar when it is preserved in nearly perfect condition, free from scratches, dents, or other imperfections. So, what makes the 1949 wheat penny so appealing to collectors? It's a combination of factors: the year of production, the rarity of coins in top condition, and the historical significance of the wheat penny series as a whole. Coins from the late 1940s are increasingly hard to find in uncirculated condition, and those that have been well preserved are becoming prized possessions in the numismatic world. Whether you're looking to add one of these coins to your collection or you're just learning about rare pennies, the 1949 wheat penny is certainly a coin worth keeping an eye on. To sum it up, the 1949 wheat penny is far more valuable than its face value suggests, especially when you find it in exceptional condition. While most of the pennies from this year are worth only a few dollars, those that are in MS-66 or higher grades can fetch prices that will make you think twice about tossing a penny aside. The value of these coins can range from $16,200 for high-quality specimens to $62,000 for the absolute best examples. So, the next time you go through your pocket change or dig through some old coins, don't overlook the 1949 wheat penny. It might just be the rare find you've been searching for. Be sure to inspect the coin's condition carefully, as it could turn out to be a valuable treasure hidden in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating insights into the world of rare coins. Keep searching. Who knows what incredible finds await you? Number 7. The 1950 wheat penny is one of those hidden gems in the world of numismatics that might not immediately come to mind when you think of rare and valuable coins. But trust me, it's definitely a coin worth paying attention to. This penny, produced by the U.S. Mint during the early 1950s, carries a unique blend of historical significance and rarity, especially when it comes to high-grade examples. So, let's dive into why the 1950 wheat penny is so special and how it can potentially be worth far more than its face value. The 1950 wheat penny was minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. While the design itself is familiar, the iconic Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, the story of the 1950 is tied to the overall production of pennies during that time. In 1950, the U.S. Mint produced a significant number of wheat pennies, and millions of them entered circulation. However, despite the high mintage, certain factors make the 1950 Dewey penny stand out among other coins of its era. For the most part, the 1950 Dewey pennies you'll come across will be in circulated condition. These coins were used in everyday transactions and show signs of wear, which can drastically reduce their value. In general, a 1950 D penny in circulated condition will only be worth a few cents, somewhere between 10 cents to $1, depending on the level of wear. But here's where things start to get interesting. The real value of the 1950 Dewey penny lies in those that have been well preserved over the years, coins that are in better condition, such as those that have been carefully kept in a collection or stored away, can be worth considerably more. For example, a 1950 Dewey penny in MS65 condition, which shows little to no wear and retains much of its original shine, can be worth anywhere from $5 to $50 depending on the exact grade and market conditions. But as we move into higher grades, the price tag starts to climb. Now, let's talk about the really rare ones, the 1950 Dewey pennies that are graded MS66 or higher. These are the coins that collectors and investors are truly after. An MS66 grade represents a coin that is nearly flawless, with only very minor imperfections that don't distract from its overall quality. These coins can fetch a premium, and in recent years, some 1950 D pennies in this condition have sold for $1,500 to $3,500 at auction, depending on their appeal to collectors. But here's where the 1950 Dewey penny gets really exciting. The highest graded examples, those in MS67 and MS68, are incredibly rare and can command jaw-dropping prices. These coins are near perfect, with no visible flaws, sharp details, and full mint luster. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1950 Dewey penny in this condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. In fact, a 1950 D penny in MS67 condition recently sold for an impressive $15,345 at a heritage auction, while an even more pristine example in MS68 went for a whopping $72,000. These prices show just how much demand there is for high-quality, rare wheat pennies, especially ones that come from a mint like Denver, where production numbers weren't as high as in other years. So, what makes the 1950 Dewey penny so special? It's all about its condition and rarity. While it may not be the first coin that comes to mind when you think of valuable pennies, those in top-tier grades are incredibly sought after by collectors. The 1950 D, especially in higher grades like MS67 or MS68, represents a perfect example of how the world of rare coins can turn something as simple as a 1-cent piece into a highly valuable collector's item. To recap, a 1950 Dewey penny in circulated condition is worth just a few cents, but when you find one in uncirculated or high-grade condition, it can be worth significantly more. High-grade examples, like those in MS66 or higher, have sold for anywhere from $5 to $72,000, depending on the condition. The best of the best, graded MS67 and MS68, have commanded prices like $15,345 and even $72,000 at auction. So, next time you come across a 1950 Dewey penny, don't just pass it off as another piece of pocket change. Take a closer look, and you might just discover a rare and valuable coin that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny has a story, and some pennies have a very profitable one.